Donald Trump is a fascist. And when it comes to democracy versus fascism, I'm sorry, there are not fine people on both sides. So you need to choose Donald Trump or the American people.
About 20 years ago, after 9/11, I noticed that the personality of this country changed. It became darker, more rigid in its sense of patriotism, more scared, more indifferent to the sufferings of others. Those that we perceived as the enemy, we had no problem treating them with cruelty, torturing them. And on the home front, if you didn't agree with everything your government was doing, you were supporting the terrorists. It was at this point in time I started to realize that this country would have no problem with the fascist government. We would have no problem with the government taking over our rights, telling us what to do and how to live. And it's not that far-fetched. Trump is still trying to invalidate the election. With the help of the Republicans, he's trying to get another 4 years in the White House. And let's face facts. Some of you would be happy if he became a dictator and was president for life.
Never in my life did I think I would like to see a dictator. But if there's going to be one, I want it to be Trump.
He clapped.
He clapped.
According to Dr. Britt, there are 14 defining characteristics of fascism. In this video, we'll cover 1 through 7. So let's see how our country, its people, are embracing these characteristics. Number 1, powerful and continuing nationalism. A fascist regime tends to make constant use of patriotic symbols. In our case, it was the American flag after 9/11. Nationalism is not patriotism. What's the difference? If you look at this and you think, I don't agree with how he's expressing himself, but I'll fight to the death his right to do it, you are a patriot. If you look at this and think, I don't agree with how he is expressing himself, and he should not be allowed to do this, then you are a nationalist. People wrap themselves so much in the flag, they forget all about the Constitution itself. I'd rather have someone burn the flag and wrap themselves in the Constitution than to wrap themselves up in the flag and burn the Constitution. This here is a perfect example of the mentality of nationalism. There is nothing patriotic about this at all. Number 2, disdain for human rights. Since the Bush era, we have seen people, especially those on the right, looking the other way or even saying they approve of the mistreatment of people. Nowadays, immigrants. Even when small children are separated from their parents and put in a cage, some people seem to be fine with it. They have no sympathy.
What you won't find, especially among Trump fans, is sympathy for immigrant families separated at the border.
These people that we have coming across the border illegally are breaking the rules. So I have no feelings for them at all.
Madeleine Carroll doesn't like CNN, and she doesn't like the way the media, she says, is trying to make her feel guilty.
Quit trying to make us feel teary-eyed for the children. Yes, I love children a great deal, but to me, it's up to the parents to do things rightfully and legally.
Number 3, identification of enemies as a unifying cause. Hitler did this with the Jews, and Trump did it with the Mexicans. People are united through their hatred of a common enemy. It doesn't matter who the enemy is, the people just need someone or something to hate.
When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're not sending you. They're not sending you. They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists.
Both of them told people that, yes, your lives are pathetic. And yes, you are at the bottom of the social ladder. You no longer have a good paying job. You no longer have the respect that you used to have. However, it isn't your fault. It's those damn Mexican immigrants. They're the reasons your life sucks.
These aren't people. These are animals. These aren't people. These are animals.
Number 4, supremacy of the military. Even when there are massive, widespread domestic problems, the military is given a disproportionate amount of funding. Social programs that help the people are cut, while massive increases are given to the military. So, no matter how bad things are on the home front, to even suggest a cut in the military budget is met with disdain and accusations of treason.
Many Americans will view a lack of support for a military parade as unpatriotic. But parades aren't cheap. The last U.S. military parade cost more than $8 million back in 1991. That's a lot of money translated into today's dollars. Well, millions see it as nothing more than a flag-waving display of patriotism. Millions more see it as yet another troubling sign of President Trump's authoritarian tendencies.
Number 5, rampant sexism. Countries that are fascist tend to be almost exclusively male-dominated. So in other words, it's a man's world and women better learn their place in it. Rarely will you see women in the position of authority. And when they are met with hostility.
In front of reporters, Representative Yoho called me, and I quote, a fucking bitch.
Women are treated as second-class citizens.
You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account...
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
No, it wasn't.
Often talked down to.
Honestly, Megan, if you don't like it, I'm sorry. I've been very nice to you, although I could probably maybe not be based on the way you have treated me, but I wouldn't do that.
You know, you could see there was blood coming out of her eyes, blood coming out of her wherever.
The United States...
So do you acknowledge that you didn't think...
Keep your voice down, please. Keep your voice down.
What this bill is that is meant to help them?
Do you work here?
I'm not thinking, Mr.
That's
President.
okay. I know you're not thinking. You never do.
I'm sorry?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
We have on tape a man saying,
Grab him by the pussy.
and he was still elected president, which isn't actually too surprising considering the attitude of males in this country towards women.
You know what? So what if he wants to grab pussy? I want to grab pussy. I wish I could grab as much pussy as he is.
Feminism poisons everything that it touches.
Number 6, controlled mass media. The first step to a fascist takeover is control of the media. So it started in 1987 when President Reagan vetoed the renewal of the 1949 Fairness Doctrine. This doctrine required that the radio and TV stations to afford reasonable opportunity for the discussion of conflicting views on issues of public importance. In other words, a station, radio or television, could not present just one point of view, and that was it. Then the Telecommunication Act of 1996 was signed into law. The biggest takeaway from this was that the restrictions of the number of media outlets a company or person could own in a given area was now lifted. This meant that one person could have a monopoly on all the media in a given area. So now we have a situation where in most places around the country, the people are being fed information from just one point of view. And that point of view may not even be factual. When the newspapers, the radios, the TVs all start spewing the same message, it becomes nearly impossible to know another point of view. And if that doesn't work, then you start to discredit the media. You try to discredit those who dare shine the light of truth upon you.
You are fake news. When we deal with reporters, it's called fake news. There are people in your profession that write fake news. You do. She does.
And the fake news refuse to call it, right?
So a lot of it is fake news, I hate to say.
Scott, look at all of that fake news. It's unbelievable.
I like real news, not fake news. You're fake news. I'm the president and you're fake news.
And I want you all to know that we are fighting the fake news. It's fake, phony, fake. A few days ago, I called the fake news the enemy of the people, and they are. They are the enemy of the people. They are the enemy of the people. They are the enemy of the people.
Without a free press, the people can be led in any direction the government wants, and sometimes with absolutely devastating results.
At this hour, American and coalition forces are in the early stages of military operations to disarm Iraq, to free its people, and to defend the world from grave danger.
This was the freedom they brought. Shock and awe, bombs over Baghdad. What the Pentagon billed as a quick war to liberate Iraq turned into a prolonged nightmare. 10 years of bloodshed, war, occupation, and deadly sectarian strife.
And the people will willingly march in that direction. They will believe what they are told. They will think what they are told to think. They will repeat the lies and believe it as truth. Number 7, obsession with national security. This one has been with us for a long time now. Everything from the commies are coming to get us to today's terrorist alert color is obtruse to a caravan is heading to our southern border. Fear has been used to make the people do the bidding of the government. For those of you old enough to remember, back in the 2000s when dumbass here was president, every time something negative, some scandal was reported about him or his administration, we would immediately get an advisory alert from the Department of Homeland Security.
Homeland Security Council raised the national threat level from elevated to high risk of a terrorist attack.
It's a startling revelation from former Homeland Security Secretary Tom Ridge. Ridge claims he felt pressure to raise the country's terror alert level during the run-up to the 2004 elections.
It must have worked, because the public was frightened all the time, and dumbass won a second term. So there we are, only halfway through, and we can see that we place more value in the flag than in the laws and rights it represents. We view others as having no rights. We no longer believe these truths to be self-evident, that all men are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. In other words, that all men are created equal under the law. It's a shame that some of us are brought together through the need of a common enemy. It is a shame that we have to hold rallies and talk about how we're going to build a great, giant wall that will keep people out. Thus, we are willing to expand the military to the detriment of our country, that the needs of the military outweigh the needs of the people. And what can I say? We put into the White House the most vile, sexist, male chauvinist pig ever. He body shames women, even though his own ass is so big it probably has its own zip code. And he talks about
grab him by the pussy.
And we men presume to tell women what they can and cannot do with their bodies by passing laws, not based on religion, but on the need to have control over women. And even in 2020, we still don't pay them an equal wage. And look at how many people believe the election was stolen. Look at how many people don't wear a mask. Look at how many people don't think the pandemic is real. Look at how many people put him over the Constitution of the United States.
Never in my life did I think I would like to see a dictator. But if there's going to be one, I want it to be Trump.
At the time I was making this video, the man-child tub was telling the governor of Georgia to have the state government invalidate the votes of Georgia and to just send pro-Trump representatives to the Electoral College. This is the most treasonous thing I've ever heard a president say, yet people still support this idea. Even though I showed just the first 7 characteristics of fascism, I hope that I have shown how we are starting that turn towards fascism. Now, believe it or not, this is not simply a Trump trashing video. I am trying to show how we, as a country, are heading down a very dangerous road. It is just that Trump is the one in the White House right now, and has been the most recent and the most obvious fascist. We've had someone in the White House who actively tried to steal the election. We were lucky this time. Next time we may not be so lucky. Based on just the first 7 characteristics of fascism, I believe that for many Americans, especially those in the Republican Party, they would have no problem living with a fascist government.
The Republican Party had one last chance in this post-election conundrum to choose country over party, and they have stuck with Trump.
Think about it.